Good morning, friends. I hope you're able to hear me properly. So this is our monthly reminder. I wanted to do my seva and have our monthly meeting where we try to pay attention to what our master, uh, be it a master who initiated you or other masters from whom you are seeking guidance. And so I'm here to just remind you of our most important duty while we are in this body. Before we get started, I just wanted to give you a little update on what's happening on the meeting hall construction. So as I updated you, I believe a few months back, that we had some issues in terms of the construction, some of the piers and foundation. So it seems like we need to, as I had indicated, that probably some fix would be needed. So we have identified the fix and we have a tentative timeline on when the fix will be done. And we expect that in first half of the year, as you know, in Bruce, during winter time, there's not much that can be done in terms of construction activities. So we'll have to wait for the weather to get better, and we expect that maybe sometime around May, when things open up, then the construction or some of the fixes that are expected can resume. And so once the fix is in place and we have run that by architect and maybe get some inspection done and make sure that things are in good state when we get a okay from the architecture firm and the structural engineer, that's when we'll feel confident that we can move on to the next stage. And so we don't have a fixed timeline for when that is going to happen. We expect the fixes to be made in May timeframe when the weather gets better. And after that, we plan to go to the next stage of doing maybe steel construction. That's what we have been thinking. So we don't want to get too far ahead because situations come up like the one that we find ourselves in. And so because of that, we cannot have a firm timeline. So in the background, we have been working with various construction companies, steel construction company to get bids for the structure. And we hope that we'll have enough money to make some progress on the structure. And there are aspects of the structure which require us to do the structure and some of the walls and insulate the building at the same time. So the cost, we are looking at the budget needed for that, and depending on where it falls and how much money we have in the bank, we will make progress accordingly. So just wanted to give you this little update, and I'll talk a bit more about this maybe next year when we have some idea of when the work will begin. Thank you for tuning in for this satsang, and I'm just a sevadar, and the seva that my master asked me to do, that is what I'm doing, or I'm trying to do as much as I can. I'm just like all of you who are looking up to their masters. In my case, it happens to be Master Ishupuriji, from whom I learned everything. And I can tell you that, as I have said many times, that I was a part-time seeker, and I do not know what I was seeking inside. Only the real me knows. But what I experience in this world after having met Ishwaji through coincidence was that suddenly my perspective about this life completely changed. And as a result of that, a lot of things that I was seeking externally in the world, that changed, and the direction of that also changed. So I realized, based on the teaching of my master and all of other masters in this path, Sant Mat or Shabda Yoga, or Radha Swami or RSSB, or there are various. It's the path is known by so many names, but it is the message that we need to take away. Even though it goes by so many different names, it's like names of the gods. People based on their cultural identity, based on their geography, based on their understanding, they give it different names, but that doesn't make the gods different. If by God we mean that the ultimate creator or creative force uh, that brought about this creation, this universe that we experience, this whole creation that we always find ourselves in the midst of. If there was only one God that created it, how can it be just known by only one name? And yet we are fighting vigorously about these names. The name by itself doesn't reveal anything about the God per se or the creator per se. Yet we have a lot of intellectual discussion about what are the attributes of God, what God likes, and and when we find God amongst us, somehow we cannot realize that what we have, like Master Ishupuriji, when he was here amongst us, we took him just as a friend because he left everything back in India and he came here to give us something that was everlasting, that had much more significance than what in the West people had in terms of materialism, satisfying their outward needs and constantly chasing after things in this world. But Ishwaji and other masters as well come to seek us because they try to tell them what is the truth, that the truth that we seek outside, search outside, cannot be found. And even when temporarily we are satisfied with the things that we are chasing, when we get them, it doesn't last for a long time. Ishwaji himself narrated so many stories of people who used to come to him and confess that they are extremely happy in their life, and then within a couple of days or weeks the circumstances would change and they will be completely devastated with whatever was going on in their life. Sometimes you could be very happy with what you have, with your family members, with your house, or everything that you have, the outside attachments. But some of the characteristics of all this attachment is that they are true only in time and space. And as the time changes, the characteristic of these things also change. The relationships change, the friendship change, the wealth changes, your outer appearance changes. In fact, our appearance constantly changes, and we grow because we are a living being from small child. We grow up to be adult, and then we have our marital life, we have kids. At some point we grow old and we die. And if you see all around you, everybody is constantly going through these motions. A child is always born, and we have, I forget now, 8 9 billion people in the planet, and the population is constantly growing. And even if you look at animal population or insects and trees, various other life forms, they are always constantly changing, sometimes because of interference from human beings, or somehow there's a delicate balance maintained. But the life is constantly evolving. We are living in this time and space, and we are experiencing various phases of life. And so maybe we are satisfied with what we have externally at some point in time, but those things also change. There doesn't seem to be anything everlasting. And what masters tell us, that we cannot find the true satisfaction outside. We cannot find the true joy. We cannot find bliss. Bliss is a term that is used for a happiness that can be found inside. Bliss cannot be found outside. What we find outside is a temporary happiness. It doesn't last for a long time. As the situation changes, as the time changes, those things also change sometimes. That's why this world is made out of ups and downs, a lot of contrast. I mean, If you just observe every day the news articles, I mean, recently again the war in Ukraine seems to be escalating. So things, and if you look at the economic situation, that is also constantly evolving. People are in dire needs of money. Sometimes hurricanes are coming, so it's constantly keeping us in toes, and we are struggling for survival. But what must masters tell us that all that we are experiencing outside is actually coming from inside. If we are able to somehow turn our attention back to from where it is originating, we'll be able to find the reality inside that never changes. It changes, and we believe that we are changing because we have identification with this body, and this body is just another material body similar to other material things that we experience. If you see how we experience this world, we have sense apparatus built into us. We have physical senses through which this world communicates to us about its existence. We look at things through our eyes, and if you look at the mechanics of how it works, we need to be able to experience this world, we need light. We need to have rays of lights or photons falling into the objects that we see around us. I right now see a camera in front of me, a table, various other things. But if I'm able to see them because there is a light, and light is must for us to see in this physical world. If light is turned off, everything will become dark. So somehow the contrast of light and dark somehow is very important in order for us to perceive this world. And if you see, the contrast is so important when you are, let's say, looking at a piece of art, or marveling at a movie where a lot of there's a dance of light going on. So this is very important. And if you look at the mechanics of how the light works and how we are able to see, we see through our eyes, and when the light falls on a particular object, and light seems to get reflected from those objects, and ray of light hits our eyes, and ultimately the nerves in the eyes are connected all the way to the brain. And so the images, even though we see through two different eyes, which give us a two different picture somehow, and the picture gets inverted because of the lens that is in the eye. And so through the principle of reflection and refraction, the messages get converted electronically. The synapses, small you can say a current flows through our brain, through synapses, and it somehow merges in the center of our head, where we feel that through eyes we are able to see certain things outside. And sometimes it can be analyzing these things can be confusing as well, because sometimes it does not give us complete explanation of the phenomena that is happening, or the experiences that we are seeing. In the lens, when the photons hit and the image that is created, this is taught in I guess high school physics, where you can see the image that is created after the photons hit the light, photons hit the lens. The image that is created is inverted, and that inverted image is somehow being seen by our eyes, and yet that's not our experience in our head. What we see in front is all upright. We don't see people or pictures or things inverted. Somehow brain is able to cope up with that, and can make a picture, make a image, and make us understand that what we are seeing is everything is upright. How does that happen? Even though we are seeing things through our naked eye, where all the phenomena, the physical phenomena that is happening, should give us an inverted image, yet we combine the inverted images that two eyes are projecting, and we combine that into one phenomena that we experience, maybe one picture, one camera that I see. You never experience multiple objects when you are seeing something. It is all combined and gives us an experience of a space, because of the way eyes are placed in front of us. Um, and so this is how we experience the world. And hearing also happens the same way. The way ears are placed on each side, we are somehow able to perceive the sound that is coming from different direction, and we get a understanding of the space around us. And somehow for all of these, uh, attention seems to be very important. What masters tell us, that we are conscious being, and because of our consciousness we are able to see things through our eyes, or the sense perception that we have. So we are able to hear through our ears and can make out where the sound is coming from. But if we were not conscious, would we be able to experience anything? Of course not. By definition, consciousness means that we are able to be conscious of something. And if we were not conscious, then we would not be able to be conscious of anything that is happening, and we would not know that the world exists. So, why is it that we experience the world that we experience? Are there other possibilities? Why is it that our bodies change, our ideas change, and everything changes? Even the earth. People are saying that earth is going to disintegrate, or as over time, it will get too close to the sun and will get eaten up. And even they say sun also has finite life, maybe another few billion years, and after that it's going to convert into a star and collapse. And so nothing seems to be living forever. And the minerals, rocks, everything goes through some sort of transformation. And we see the life as things that are constantly evolving, otherwise they are not life. And so we are conscious, and we are able to be conscious of things around us, and things around us are constantly changing. So, and along with that, our emotions are also constantly changing, because of the realities that we experience, the bondages, attachments that we have. They evoke different emotions in us, and we try to always find a good emotion, good things in our life. But as life presents things to us, we know that nothing is permanent. Our attachments are not permanent, our relationships are not permanent. Things always uh, uh, get created, and then they get destroyed or they disappear. The same thing happens with planets. As the modern science tells us, that these planets, that it's so strange that we are floating in a ball that is rushing through the space, and this is a vast empty space. And so even this earth is not going to last for a long time. And it's surprising that things are still happening in a way that life can continue. And so our relationships also change, and somehow we want to find this steady place where we are happy. But nothing in this world seems to be steady, seems to be permanent. So masters tell us that if we want to find that happiness, which we find by attaching ourselves to the objects outside, they tell us that we cannot find happiness outside, because if the objects outside change, definitely our state of happiness also changes. So we have to find something that is not changing. And they tell us that the world that is created in a way that is meant to change, that lives in time and space. And there are levels of creation in this world. And if we are able to somehow peel off a so-called onion or different masks that we wear, we will be able to find at the core of it a creation or existence that never changes, that will always be there, because that doesn't live in time and space. It is beyond time. So when there is no time, then there is no question of it going away because of time. So masters tell us that we can, while we have this human body, which is so important, and saints have sung praises of this human body, uh, and they have said that after a long journey, we find ourselves in the midst of this body where we can truly seek, and we can ask important questions that bother us. We can make decisions based on what we feel like, what we observe. We feel we have a control over the decision making that is given to us, and this decision making power, this ability to uh, take different path, and deliberate action is only given to human beings. There are 84 lakh, 8.4 million forms of life forms, as it has been catalogued by CS in India a long time back in some text, and they have identified different forms of life that is in creation, and most of them are in the vegetable forms, vegetation form. There are plants, trees, shrubs. There are so many varieties of them, and of course they are unmovable. They grow, and they die in the same place. There are insects, there are birds, there are humans, and we seem to be evolving through all of those. And what masters tell us that this creation, as it moves through time and space, it is also evolving. The core of us, the soul, is also partaking in this journey. And they tell us that every living being, everything that grows, has a soul. So even the plants, even though there may be so many variety of these plant forms, and they also have soul. It is amazing that it's if you just take a plane flight, and if you happen to peek down, you'll see so many trees, so many plants, that wherever there is a land, there is a creation happening. Things are growing. If it is water, there are aquatic animals. There is flora, fauna on the surface of the water. So the life seems to be everywhere. It is so abundant, and yet the ability to be able to make your own decision is just limited to what is called human being, and in this form, on this earth at this moment. And but somehow other life forms also have an ability to survive on their own, and some of the means by which some of these animals survive is amazing. Although they depend on instinct, but somehow scientists have shown that the DNA that we carry over generations, they somehow also uh, give us that sense of evolution that happens, and somehow we also are able to thread back at a different level, at a spiritual level, or maybe some other level, and we are able to see the continuity of our existence. In East, it is believed that reincarnation is very important for us to explain why things happen to us. If you meet an accident, if you lose eyesight, if you lose your hand, if something happens to you, uh, it's just not a solitary experience. It's just not a coincidence, and there is always a reason for which it happens. There's an interesting story of Ramchandra. This is a reincarnation of Vishnu. It is Lord Vishnu in India, which is supposed to be one of the Trinity gods. And Bhagwan Ram, Lord Ram, who is the central character of one of the epics, Ramayana, it is said that he um, uh, had a war with, he was going on a war with a king, Ravan, who had abducted his wife. And in order to find his wife, he was in a forest. He had been asked to go to a forest for 12 years, 12 or 14 years. And as he was living in the forest, this king, Ravan, who was a great devotee of another god of Trinity, Shiva, Lord Shiva, I believe, and he had a lot of boons, and so he had a lot of magical powers. So he used some of the magical powers to abduct Bhagwan Ram, Lord Ram's wife. And so Lord Ram was going around to find out what happened to his wife, and he was asking for directions. He was asking for help. And so there's an interesting story about monkey kings who were living in the forest. And he wanted to get help from one of the monkey kings. And there were two monkey brothers. One was called Bali and another Sugriv. And so this monkey king Bali, he had meditated for a long time, and he had gotten some powers, boons. And one of the power that he got was that anybody who fights him, he would lose half of his power. And so this king Bali was very powerful, and nobody wanted to fight with him. And so he had become a little arrogant as well. And so he had taken part of the kingdom from his brother Sugriv. So Sugriv wanted to somehow beat him, but he knew that he cannot beat him because of the boon that was given to Bali, and he would lose his power. So there was no way for any enemy of Bali to fight him. So as Ramchandra was looking for help to find his wife, he approached Sugriv and said, "Can you please lend me your people so that I can find my wife and they can fight for me?" And so Sugriv said that he wanted to help him, but he will also have to play a role. And he said, "If you can somehow kill Bali, then I'll be able to help with my soldiers." And so Lord Ram agreed. And so there was a war announced between the brothers, monkey brothers. And so Lord Ram was hiding behind a tree. And as the fight started between these two brothers, Lord Ram used his arrow to kill Bali. And because Lord Ram was not a direct enemy of Bali and he was hiding, Bali could not, he did not even know that somebody else is fighting him. And so as he was struck by the arrow and was about to be killed, he said, "I was not fighting you. Why did you have to intercede? And because of this, you'll have to pay back whatever you have earned. So you'll have to take care of this karma, and in future you'll have to do that." And so it so happened that again Ram was born in the next life, and it is said that again the same soul took birth as Lord Krishna. And it was a different time, and it was the time period of Mahabharata. And it so happened that after the war of Mahabharata got over, and Lord Krishna was resting in a forest, and he was just he had put his feet together as he was resting below a tree, and he was resting on his I believe tree trunk, and he had his feet on top of each other. And it is said that Lord Krishna had a mark on his feet, on the sole of his feet, and those were lotus signs. And so as he was laying down, there was a man from a forest. It's called Bhil, the type of people who live in the forest and they have special culture. And so he was carrying his bow and arrow, and he was trying to look for deer or other animals to kill and sustain himself. And when he saw the foot of Lord Krishna and the lotus sign on the sole of the feet, they appeared like the eyes of a deer. So he mistook the feet for the eyes of the deer, and then he shot the arrow, and the arrows hit Lord Krishna's feet, and it penetrated, and after that he died. And so I'm saying that this is in a historical form or in some story form, it is conveyed that what we do in the past, always, if you create karma, then you have to somehow fulfill that in time. And through many stories, the same aspect of why we find ourselves in midst of different conditions, it is communicated, and it is believed that through reincarnation, whatever we have done in the past is somehow resolved in the future. And it is said that before we take birth in this physical body, our destiny is already created. And because of the destiny, appropriate body is given to us to carry out whatever we had destined in the past. So we do not know what has happened in the past, because at any point in time, we are just living in this body, and we have very limited knowledge even in this the time frame that we hold in our head. But that doesn't mean that we according to master, that doesn't mean that we have just out of coincidence or out of randomness we just appeared here. And although people in the past in Western countries used to believe that this life we just get it's random, it has no meaning, there is no continuity, and that's why we should live as if there is no tomorrow. So there is no sense of morality involved in this. So we don't worry about what's going to happen to us, even if we do a very bad deed. And so there is no repercussion. That's how it used to be believed. So people became morally very hollow, and they would do all kind of nasty things and would think that, okay, nothing would happen to me. But what karma and what Eastern traditions always have told us, that we always are accounted to pay for whatever we do, and it is done through reincarnation. The same soul, you can say, or same whatever the idea of us is, that is always carried on to the next life through reincarnation. And because of the situations we are born in, we are given opportunity to take care of the karmas that we have created in the past. There's a very interesting story of in Mahabharata of one blind king, and this blind king asks Lord Krishna as to why he's blind in this lifetime, and he has already looked at 100 of his past lives, and he hasn't found anything wrong that he did. And Lord Krishna, who was his master, he told him that go back and look at few more lives. In 104th life, I believe, that's when he had taken out the eyes of somebody else. And so in this 104th life, after 104 lives, he had to account for that, and that's why he was born as a blind king. So karma somehow, and through reincarnation, we get a glimpse of, or at least in terms of knowledge, through masters, we find an explanation of whatever is happening for a reason. It's just that we have very limited vision, we have very limited memory, and we cannot really account for everything that we have done. But if we are able to somehow go inside and turn the direction of our observation, where we observe this world, through which we get a knowledge of this world, if somehow the same attention can be turned in a different direction, but we do not know what a different direction would be. So masters give us a lot of hints as to how we can uh, make a sense of these ideas through common experiences. When we go to bed in the night, and when we wake up in the morning, there is considerable time passes, maybe a few hours, 7 8 hours, and we somehow don't remember what happened during that time. We just get up uh, from the bed in the morning, and maybe sometimes we can recollect what has happened in the night time, and some of us uh, have good dreams, vivid dreams sometimes, and we wake up in the morning, and then we remember that, oh, I had seen some interesting dream, and but those dreams just disappear very quickly. And masters tell us that similar things happen when we also take birth. And Master Ishiji used to say that if you look at babies' eyes, they seem to be communicating something after they're born, and they look at us. They observe the world, and they look at everything with a lot of curiosity, as if they are thinking about something that is going on, but they do not have means to communicate to us through, because their vocal cords are not developed. They cannot speak. They cannot walk. Uh, but different life forms are given different abilities somehow for the life to continue. I mean, I was hearing in some documentary that monarch butterflies, they start their journey from Canada and they go to Mexico during certain seasons, and they travel vast distances. So we are just talking about butterflies. They travel around 2,500 miles in their journey, and apparently they take the same path. And researchers found out that wherever they stop, the next generation of butterflies also stop at the same place. How is it that the next generation somehow knows where exactly to stop? They stop at the same trees that their ancestors had stopped. And in terms of their size, and if you compare it with the size of the distance they cover, it's very easy to imagine that they will get distracted. They will not be able to find their way. And in fact, scientists discovered that they exactly stop at the same trees that the ancestors had stopped at. And these scientists, for the sake of experimentation and finding the truth, they cut some of the trees down. And so they wanted to find out what would happen to these butterflies. And surprisingly, these butterflies, of course, had to take shelter in different trees. And then they changed the route, and they stopped at different trees. Now their descendants, the subsequent generation of monarch butterflies, started taking the new route, and they stopped at the same trees again and again. And there seems to be amazing intelligence that is going on. And some of the abilities that we as a human being have, these other animals don't have, but they have different kind of abilities to be able to continue the life. Human beings, at the time of birth, we are totally incapable of doing anything. Probably our mind works, but we are not able to stand. We are not able to get our food. But look at other animals, uh, you know, like a deer, or bear, or different four-legged animals. When they're born, they're immediately able to stand up without much effort. Somehow, maybe through the genes or some inner power, they somehow know how to walk. We are not given any instruction manual to operate this physical body. We instinctively follow certain things. We don't tell our heart to beat. We don't tell our lungs to breathe. So some of the things are inbuilt, and we just react. If there is a danger, we run away immediately. So we human beings behave in instinctive ways as well. And some of these instincts seems to have partial explanation in this world. Maybe something that had happened, maybe a few years back or in early childhood, because of which we carry on certain tendencies. Like if something had happened in the past, then you are now trained in terms of guard yourself from the dangers that you had encountered in the past. But not everything can be somehow explained. The place that you are born into could be a very poor family. You may not have a father or mother alive for a long time, or maybe going through a dire situation. And so we go through all kind of things, and we somehow do not find adequate explanation for what's happening to us. And in some way it is good in terms of to be able to have a completely different experience. Imagine if we had knowledge of all the lives that you have lived, and so those impressions will constantly haunt you depending on how you acted. If you acted badly in the past, it would be very difficult for you to continue. I remember the story where there was a disciple who wanted his master to reveal to her who she was in the past. And master told her that it is not a good idea to know about your past because that can interfere with your current life, and you've been given a fresh start. So just live this life in the according to his master, and should not poke too much into what happened in the past, because a lot of gory details can come out and that may disturb you. But this was a curious soul, and she wanted to know what happened in the past life and why she was given this current life. And so master helped her find out what happened in her life through divine vision. And once she found out, she was so disturbed that she repented why she wanted to find out more about her past life. She was better off not knowing what she was. And it turned out that she was a prostitute in the past life. And so that's why her master was discouraging her from finding out about the past life. So sometimes not knowing and trusting your master and just following the orders can be the best thing. But it is very difficult for us to follow the instructions that master give us. And so like our master, he had been lecturing for almost 45 years. And according to a few people who have known him, he was, and master himself at many times told us the story of how a great master had predicted that he would be giving lectures. And so my master in West, in Chicago area, and while traveling all over the world, he encouraged us to go inside and find the truth for ourselves. He gave directions as to how to go inside, and gave a very rational explanation of how the creation happened. And so I'm just reiterating some of those things which are already available in so many beautiful YouTube videos, and there's no need for me to repeat that, but as the times change, somehow this has to go on, the tradition has to go on. So I'm just repeating what I have understood from my master. And so to be able to get away from the things that is presented to us because of time and space, so many variety, so much happiness, sadness, and not able to find this complete satisfaction, happiness, joy, bliss that we seek. Because once we have gone through lots of ups and downs, we also get tired. We want to find this resting place where we are free of all the attachments, where we find complete solace. And somehow we know, we as a common individuals, we know that we have to go outside, read the books, go to different temples, places of worship, in order to find the truth, or some kind of happiness, because we believe that these people who have written these books, there are scriptures that talk about uh, God, and somehow we uh, search through those means. And once we have failed in those seeking, then somehow our prayers get answered, and somehow we find in the midst of these people who have much higher level of awareness, and they guide us that we can find the truth by changing the direction of attention that we have. And through the common experience that I was talking about earlier, getting up in the bed, we remember something that had happened. And as a child, a lot of childs have early memory of who they were in the past life, and we get little glimpse of that. And even in our common day-to-day experience, when we are dreaming, when we are sleeping, the dream seems so real, and we lose complete awareness of our body that is lying in the bed. So we have had some of the experiences that tell us that it is possible to be able to see something else, observe something else. And masters tell us that our ability to relate to the world is according to the body that we wear. So we have a physical body, and that's why we experience this physical world around us. If we had different kind of body, like the dream body that we wear when we are sleeping and dreaming, the our abilities also change because of the body that we are wearing. It's a dream body. We are able to make use of the body that we have at that time, and maybe we are able to see colors, we are able to fly around, and we are able to perceive that world according to the body that we wear. And masters tell us that it is us, it is the power built into us because of which we are able to perceive. And the important power that we have comes from very core of us, because that is the reason, that is the and if you were to call that consciousness, totality of consciousness, that is all there is. And what we are experiencing is nothing but a dream. And but the dream is so elaborate. It is also said that this creation that we experience, that is because of the consciousness that we hold, and ability of that consciousness to be conscious of anything that it wants. So it is experiencing this whole creation as a dream, a very high level of imagination that is happening at a successive level, through which we are able to see the creation. And there is always a debate, as Master also used to narrate, that there's a debate going on between the materialists and idealists. Materialists claim that what we observe exists outside, because of which we are able to perceive them through our eyes or through other senses. If those things were not there, we would not be perceiving it. Whereas idealists say that it is not necessary for you to have these objects, and in fact these objects don't exist, because we are seeing. That's why we are perceiving the objects around us. If we could not see, if we did not have consciousness, then we would not see it. So the argument has been going on for a long time, and the argument is never going to be over, because it depends on the person asking the question, and if he is able to go deeper and experience for himself whether the creation is happening from outside in or inside out. What masters tell us, that masters who have realized through their own experiences, and there are series of masters who have come one after the other, they give us the same teaching, that if we are able to turn our attention back from where it is flowing, and the fact that we are conscious, if we did not have the consciousness, we would not be anyway be able to be aware of anything outside. the fact is that we are conscious, and we can be conscious of different things based on the garment that we wear, the mask that we wear. So if we are able to somehow drop the mask that we are conscious of at this point, which is in this waking hour, we are conscious of our body, and somehow if we are able to drop this body uh, through some process, which masters talk about, the process of meditation. Meditation is he my master called it as an art form where we pull the attention back. It's a series of withdrawal from the outside world to the inside, um, and that can be done through the power of imagination. And so in when we imagine, even though material things don't exist, you can imagine a face. You can imagine a face of a baby. You can imagine a face of different people. You can imagine flowers. You can imagine birds, clouds, different things. But they don't exist, but they exist somehow in our mind. Somehow we are able to see the flashes of the images or whatever we imagine. And so when masters say that this world is created through a very high level of imagination that is happening, then it could be true. In fact, in some in Eastern traditions, in some picture form, it is conveyed that a Lord or the God or God Vishnu, who is the sustainer of this world, is shown lying on a snake that is coiled, and he's sitting on a snake, and is sort of dreaming, and through those dreams the creation is happening. So if this is this creation that we experience because of our imagination, then maybe we can imagine things and get away from the outer reality that we experience. And what masters tell us, that we can uh, uh, through introspection find out where we are operating from. And if you see all the sense perceptions, nine sense perceptions organs that we have, eyes, ears, nose, lower apertures, these are communicating the identity or the reality of the outside world. Somehow if we are able to close that and remain within, remain conscious, but not use the external apparatus. So if we sit quietly with our eyes closed, and not pay attention to the sound that is coming from outside, and not move our hands, and try to forget the reality that is outside, and somehow able to imagine something else. So whatever we imagine, uh, that would come true, because what masters say is that we also are endowed with the spark that is in everyone, and that is in the creator. He has created all of us, so all his qualities are also in us. It's just that we have forgotten the qualities, some of the qualities that is available with the creator, and we have decided to put on different masks in order to forget who we were. If we remembered everything, then the creation would not look like a creation. It won't be real. We would know that, okay, this is just temporary, and we will have immediate knowledge of that. But because we don't have any awareness of what was in the past, or what our true essence is, that's why we are seeker. That's why we are seeking answers. If we already knew, we would not be seeking answer. And so this gives us a lot of surprise. This gives us adventure. Masters tell us that we came here to have fun, to enjoy this roller coaster ride, and we do not want to be trapped in this world. So we already made an arrangement to be able to go back, and so masters come into our midst to help us, to hold our hand, and through some of the teachings that they give us, they try to encourage us to take our attention back from the source, from where it is coming out. And so through imagination, if we are able to imagine a different world, and if we can imagine where we are operating in this head from, which is at the center of both the ears and between the eyes, if we somehow keep our concentration on that, and we experience all this world through the power of concentration. When we want to look at the picture, we take our attention, put on the picture, and concentrate, and then we are able to find those objects. We are able to get a knowledge of that object, about being some few things being present, and we become conscious of those things. But if we want to remove the consciousness from those objects, we have to put our attention somewhere else. So if we are able to put our attention on the imaginary world that we can create inside our head, because as I was explaining about the mechanics of how we observe things, so the images fall on our eyes, on the lenses, and then we conceive of the objects in a 3D, three-dimensional way within our head. So the perception is actually taking place in the head. And as the idealists believe that if we can conceive of something else inside, and depending on the concentration of that, those things will become real. So if you can conceive of a pen inside that you're writing with a pen, that will become real. That won't be any different from the experience that we have in day-to-day life. So it depends on how much attention we put in. As a master used to say that if we put more than 50% of attention in the imaginary things, those things will become real. So if we are able to somehow take the attention back during the process of meditation, where we withdraw the attention from outside world by imagining being there in one place and quietening our mind, we will know that what we experience there is a much vaster world, and we are probably familiar with those worlds because we have been there. If sufficient attention can be taken back, then we realize that we lose contact with the outer world. We as if the outer world becomes like an imagination, like a dream, where it feels that is not real, and the reality inside becomes more real. And through the process of unrolling the attention back, because we will, once we take one step back from this physical mask that we are wearing, physical body that we are wearing, we'll find us in a different body. And yet that body also has a limited life, similar to the body that we have right now. And as Master Ishuji used to say, that this life that we have is just maybe 100 year. Not many people live beyond 100, 105, 110 year. And similarly, the other body that we have, when we remove this garment, we find that we have another body that we wear. And that also has a finite lifetime. And it is estimated that it's 1,000 to a few thousand year old. And yet, even that is not permanent. There's another body below that. So that is called a causal body or mind body. And even that has a longer lifespan. So somehow we decided to have this experience where we are going through successive dreams of having different bodies and having this coarse experience in this physical world where we can experience different material things outside. But what is to say, as I was saying, that there is a debate between materialist and idealist. Who is to say which is real? And masters tell us that only as a seeker we can find what is real, what is not, by process of taking the attention back and finding these different bodies that give us experience of a different world and will make us realize that this physical body that we are associated with right now, that is not the only reality. But our reality has been around for much longer, and this is just a temporary existence, short life form that we decided to take. But once that ends, there's another body that is living for a much longer duration, and the memory that we hold right now in this physical tiny body, that is held by the mind of astral body, the inner body, and mind of that inner body is yet held by the causal body. And the causal body is being powered by the soul, the power, the consciousness. Uh, and But we don't know about these things. But to be able to find that truth, the ultimate happiness, the bliss, the Satchidanand, the ever true, the timeless happiness, and that can only be found by realizing who we truly are. Because in time and space, our identity changes. We are not the same person. Our emotions also change. Our knowledge changes, and we do not know who we truly are. So till we are able to peel off these layers, we will not know what is the reality. And through the process of meditation in this life form, we can find out what the truth is, because masters, when they comes amongst us, through their own experience, they tell us that they have been able to act upon their master's guidance, and through their blessing they've been able to find, and they, a lot of them became superhuman while living in this physical body and just acting like anybody else in this physical body by conducting a life of householder and whatever this life demands of. So they are able to yet transcend beyond this life, beyond this physical body, and find the reality deep inside. And through their teachings, through their because of their compassion, uh, because they want to help us, and because we are seekers, we are given this opportunity to be close to these masters. And I want to end this with a nice story that I heard about Gautam Buddha. And this is because I just started talking about the compassion that these masters show. This is a story of Gautam Buddha. He saw a farmer or villager basically tend to his sheep and goats, and he was taking this farmer was taking a bunch of goats and other animals to graze. And so Gautam Buddha saw this person take all the animals, and he asked him, "Where are you taking them?" And so this person pointed to the hill where there was a lot of grass in that area, and so he wanted these animals to graze on that land. And Gautam Buddha observed that as this farmer was taking the herd, one of the goat was somehow limping, and it was in great pain, and so it would always fall back from the group. And this shepherd, the farmer, used to beat on this lame animal, goat, and it would lash at this animal in order for this animal to be with the herd. And Gautam Buddha was pretty, he upon looking this, he was full with pity and compassion, and so he asked the this farmer if it is okay if he could carry the goat to wherever he is taking him. And this farmer said, "Really, you want to do that? Of course, be my guest. I don't have any problem." And so out of kindness and compassion, Buddha took the goat in his hand and carried all the way to the hill where he could graze, where this animal could graze. And so I think I feel that we are in the similar situation. We, all of us, need help, and because of the seeking, because of how much trauma we are experiencing, how much we want to get out of this world, because of all the maybe negative things that we have seen, experienced, and we feel like enough of this imagination, enough of this dream that we experience, and we want to get away. And because of which these masters come amongst us in order to take us out of our misery that we are experiencing, and they tell us through their experience that yes, it is possible to find who we truly are. And once we find out who we truly are, and once we have identified with the true self, then all our problems will end, and we will know this as being just a dream, and that we decided to partake in and have a fun uh, in this ride. So I hope we are able to all go inside with Master's blessing, because they have given so much in their life, uh, and they have shown compassion by taking care of herds, goats, and we are just like brute animals. We are involved in the outer world, and so we need to be tended. We need to be looked after, and that's why these masters show compassion and come amongst us to guide us and take us to this green pasture where we can be completely happy and be in Satchidananda, everless, timeless happiness, happy state, and where we are full of knowledge. Thank you so much. I hope I'll get to see some of you in the Bandara that is next month in Chicago. At least I'll be able to, if I am not able to see you in person there, I hope I'll be able to see you online. And you can find out the details of the program by going to ishanews.org and go to events page, and you'll find the direction, and you'll be able to register for the event. With that, I'll take permission from you to leave, and I hope you are able to go inside and practice and give 5 minutes that masters wanted us to practice every day, and be a gurumukh. Thank you.